Welcome. I just wanted to start off with a little bit about Lorna and the theme, and most people have pointed this out to me, that the theme is not a usual open center theme, but because of Lorna's background and authenticity, she really kind of broke the mold and is perfect for us, and that's why I invited her to be here. So I want to start off, Lorna, with just asking you about this room and how you feel the angelic forces, even the bust of Martin Luther King over here. And if you have anything to say to us. Oh, sorry about that. Let me push that closer. I want her to get started and just get a feel about the room and give us her impressions. And I see that we have, I said a bust of Martin Luther King, and I think she wanted to tell us a little bit about that.
Well, can you hear me now clearly? Everybody? Louder, okay. Is that better?
Closer.
Closer. I hope I'm sitting close enough, am I? Can you all hear me clearly? I don't know where to start, to be honest with you. Just looking down at all of you here tonight, and I have to say welcome to you and thank you for coming. And, you know, I see the light of the guardian angel behind each and every one of you. And if I ever, in my life, never saw that light behind anybody, I would be terrified, because I wouldn't know exactly what it would mean. But where will I start? Because I see so much. I'm asking the angels to help me. Maybe I will talk about yourself here. When she was going down the steps, when we came up to do the voice check, I put my hand like this at the back of her, and the two angels each side of her said, "No, Lorna, we don't need your help, she's not going to fall." And all that I can say is those two angels were tall, and they were dressed in what I would call like trousers and, you know, a top, but the colour was like a white silver. It's the closest I can give you to that colour. And I have to smile because I can see a lady sitting down there at the back of the room, and earlier on, and even now, what I see coming in from behind her, as if she's really not there, is what I call just golden angels, and they're just coming into the room and just spreading out among all of you. And I just see so much. It's, you know, even when I was outside at the door here and I was looking across where you were all, I think, signing or paying your fee. I don't know what is even paid, you know, just watching the angels giving you all a helping hand. And I had to smile because they were waving back at myself. And I was saying, I'm a bit nervous, don't be waving, you know, in that way. I suppose the most important thing is for you to remember that each and every one of you have a guardian angel that never leaves you for 1 second. You know, so you're never alone at all. And it's your guardian angel that is the gatekeeper of your soul. And it's the guardian angel that allows other angels in around you, and even loved ones as well, you know, of someone who had died, you know, and has passed over. And that's another wonderful thing. How can I say, all of this is just so natural for me. I never realised, even growing as a child, that people didn't realise that, you know, that they're not just flesh and blood, that you have a soul, and you don't actually die. You know, when you just think of that, you actually live. It's only your human body that dies, but you live. You know, and that's one thing we have to remember in today's world, you know, because I know here in America it's very hard for people, just like everywhere else. And I know I have loads to tell you about America, because I don't know where I should start there now.
Well, I just wanted to bring out a point. When Lorna first came to New York and she came to see me, she met with me for about an hour, and then she left, and she was, you know, away until she was going to show up for her class. what happened was the next day she wrote a newsletter about her encounters in New York for that weekend, including the Open Center, and she wrote a newsletter to, I don't know, 10,000 people. And in it she first mentioned a Native American person who was walking in Times Square, and some of you may have read about it. And she described him so clearly, and his angel, and how he had a golden eagle on his arm, the angel, and that he represented someone from the past who was a great Indian chief. And she described him as someone with high cheekbones and a very good-looking face. And his energy field was so bright and full of light, and that his angel loved him very much. He was well-educated, and he was given the chance, and she was hoping that he was being given the chance in this life to accomplish things he's supposed to do, because it's a very hard thing, I think. And I know, when I read the description, this is what I'm trying to get to, I knew who the person was because I had been working with him for 10 years, and New York is not a small place. But based on the description, I knew who she saw in Times Square. So I contacted him and I said, were you in Times Square these past few days? And he said, yes. He said, and I actually was at a dinner honoring the Irish. I was invited to speak there. So his name is Tiokasin Ghosthorse. Tiokasin, are you here? Could you stand up for a moment? I want to see if this is Lorna. Did you meet him? Is that?
Yes.
That was him. That was him. Yes. And Lorna, Tiokasin, I feel sometimes doesn't get enough acknowledgement for the great work that he does. He has, I think, the only radio show for First Voices for Indigenous people on the West Coast. And to hear this acknowledgement from Lorna out of the blue, I think was a great confirmation about your first words about the first Americans here. Well, which is not American, really. They're Indigenous people.
Well, that's what you have to remember, you know. The native people of this country, you know, they have such a great spirituality as well to share. And the American people, all of you here, you know, the first time I came to America and, you know, was stepping off the plane, I was saying to God and the angels, but why is everything vibrating so much? Why is, you know, I seen so much sparks and everything like that. And I realized as I got off the plane, it wasn't just the earth of America, it wasn't just the land, but it's the people. And the people of America, you don't seem to realize that you are the new race. And I call you the new race because you have been gathered from all over the world, you know, by the gathering angels that I have seen from the time I was a very small child. You know, and you have such vibration, you are so open, and you glitter. Like even today, when I was sitting in a restaurant and watching people going by, and you know, people in the restaurant, I was saying, but why? What's wrong with the American people? Why don't they know, you know, that they are so spiritual, that their souls are coming forward, that you are the new race, and that you will help to lead the world. You have a huge part to play, just like the African American as well. You know, they have such a different energy. You know, the only way I can describe it is like their energy is like a royal blue, and it's full of sparks. You know, and just to see the angels, you know, working so hard to help the American people to believe in yourselves more is just wonderful, because I find it so hard to put that into words, you know. And the American Gathering Angels, the first time I saw them was when I was a small child, you know, and that was in Ireland, of course, because it's only lately I'm travelling, you have to remember. And they just told me they were the Gathering Angels, and I would learn about them later when I would grow. And you know, as time passed, you know, they told me more and more about these gathering angels, that they go to all countries and they're still gathering people, and they were created by God. But these gathering angels, they're not like your guardian angel, or they're not like, you know, other healing angels or teacher angels or anything like that. they're here on the earth and they stay here. The American Gathering Angels are specially for the American people, and at the moment they're still gathering people from other countries, and they're beautiful, and I just have to smile. How can I say it? I try not to smile too much as well, but one of them is standing over there in the corner, so I will describe them to you. They all look male. Okay, and they all seem to wear this kind of armour that covers their legs. They all seem to have, in their human appearance, they give, like black hair, dark hair, but it varies in length, but never goes past the shoulder. And they wear a band around their head, but it disappears into the hair. I'm just trying to help you to visualise them. And they have a crest on their chest. And the crest is blue, but it has a design, but I've never been allowed to see what that design is. And I'm saying to myself, angels, why won't you allow me to see that design? But there must be a reason why I'm not being allowed. And those gathering angels are specially for America. They brought all of you here, your descendants. Just think of it, and even I had asked the angels about, the African American long ago being taken from Africa, and what had happened, them being turned into slaves, which is completely wrong. But yet, the angels told me that was the only way to get your descendants to be here, because you are very special. You have this spirituality that's different than other Americans. And even on the train there today, I was watching a family and I just had to smile. It was 2 children and a mother and father. And I just looked, and there was a gathering angel very close to them, as well as other angels now. And of course I saw the light of the guardian angel. And I saw something else within one of the children as well. I saw the spark of Christmas. And I can tell you about that later. But again, the husband and wife were of 2 different nationalities. You are a new race, and that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I wish somehow you would wake up and realise what gifts you have. How much you are part of the future. For leading the world. Do you want to ask anything else?
Yes, I do. Okay. Well, I also wanted to understand a little bit about the United States and its spiritual path, and as compared with other nations, and what does it really mean? Because I feel like over time, I think the nation has lost that they used to be sure about themselves in that respect many years ago, and in the last few years it's like people are like this.
Well, what would I say? The American peoples have lost that, but that's why God and the angels have me coming to America so much, and sometimes I would be asked, why did you write the book now? And you have to remember it was God and the angels that chose now, in that way. Again, you are just a special race. You are part of the future. You're more advanced, yet you don't seem to realise it. I'd love to give you all a pinch, if you know what I mean, in that way, say, wake up. Because many of the futures of man seem to start in America, seem to start with the new race. And when I see all religions, all different beliefs being gathered and brought to America by the gathering angels, it is unbelievable. So get back your belief, get back and know that you're part of the future of the world. You're to lead the rest of the world, even though I know, because in Europe people don't like me saying that. They say, oh no, and the Americans always think they're special. But that's why you think you're special. It's deep down inside of you. you know, but yet Americans come from all different races, from all around the world, and people forget that. There's loads of Irish descendants here. There's loads of African descendants here. There's loads of so many other nationalities, and yous are already mixing. You know, I suppose maybe to tell you, I'm asking the angels, should I say that? And they're saying, and I'm saying maybe I shouldn't, but they're telling me to go and say it, even if you don't like it. Okay? Right? Even Obama, and I know you might like that piece, even Obama was chosen to be your president. Because, you know, before that election, I can't remember clearly whether it was the TV or a photograph the angels had shown me. And they said, that's the man that will be the president if the American people listen. Because he's meant to be. And I know you might be annoyed with that, because you don't feel he's doing enough. But the most amazing thing to me was that over, I don't know how many months it takes for the election to happen, but he was way down there, and somehow yous were listening. Yous are open, and yous got him to where he is today. And even though you might feel he's not, you know, the right person there, but he is actually very spiritual. He is actually very open. And I just pray and ask that those others in power around him don't suppress him, that he has the courage and strength to do what he actually knows should be done. And I think that's what everyone should pray and ask for. I know he still has 2 years left. I won't tell you what they have told me after that. I'll keep that a secret. But I do pray for what that is meant to be as well, that you will all listen again. You know,
well, I mean, I remember when you just said something about we should pray for that, because I think it was Carolyn Meese who once mentioned, she says, people don't pray for their leaders anymore. And
you should pray for your leader. And you should pray for your president of your country. You know, no matter what you think of him now, and I don't know the man. I'm not an American, I haven't lived here yet, but I have some of my descendants are here too. But yes, you should pray. You should ask that he makes the right decisions on your behalf.
So I wanted to ask a little bit more about guardian angels, because basically when that's said to someone, it's like, well, you know, it's kind of hard to keep that relationship up because I don't really see them. And you do it for a little while, maybe when you mention the book, but I wanted to understand, what is the behavior of an guardian angel when they're with you every day, and what do they do when you're depressed? What do they do when you're...
Well, one thing I have seen the guardian angel do, I suppose one thing you have to remember, it never leaves you for a second. But when someone is depressed, they're actually closer to you. It's the only way I can describe it. But when somebody is really, really depressed, really in a very bad way, they are intertwined. You know the way a rope is, you know, braided together, twined up together. They are that way within your soul and your body. And they're doing everything to kindle the light, you know, that little spark of light, to keep it going, to keep you going. Anytime I have seen that, even over the years, sometimes my heart just cries, because I know that person is in such a dark place, and I know the guardian angel is struggling, helping, just to keep that light going, so that person will fight to live, because, you know, none of us are meant to take our own life, or none of us are meant to give up. We will always get through it, because your guardian angel becomes intertwined within you. It's just a beautiful thing to see. It's like if you could imagine your human body, and imagine seeing, going in and out through your human body, you know, a beautiful angel, even seeing the wings, seeing the light, you know, it is just so beautiful to see. And seeing all that love and compassion that angel, your guardian angel, has for you, for that person, you know, to keep that little bit of light going, so they won't give up on life.
So what happens when you have a guardian angel that is with someone that people will regard as someone who commits heinous crimes, or they regard him as bad or evil?
I know, and I know that's hard for us all, but you have to remember each and every one of us have a guardian angel, whether we're good or bad. It's a gift from God, and it's the gatekeeper of your soul. And how can I say it? At times I often would see, when I'd be walking down the road, you know, I would see the guardian angel, what I would say is crying, because the person is not listening. The person is listening to, I don't like to even name it, the other side, you know, the bad side that we listen to. And I know you've all read the book, so I know, I don't like talking about that other part. But Satan does exist, you know, and he gets in. We listen to that side easier than we listen to our guardian angel, or listen to the soul of a loved one, because your guardian angel allows in the soul of a loved one, because we feel the presence of the soul of a loved one more than we'd feel any angel. And I think that is beautiful, and the reason why you feel that is because they have lived in a human body once and you knew them, even if you knew them in just passing. You know, even if you weren't great friends with your cousin, but yet you knew them.
So, starting a process of that, how do you gather strength working with that side and not be easily veer yourself onto what you said, that darker side, because it's hard sometimes to see it in yourself?
It is, and I know it's really hard for everyone.
Well, especially during times of trial and tribulation, and the darkest part.
Yeah, you know, we listen. It's like I have been told so many stories, you know, of people who came up and told me that they were having a really hard time, and because someone did something on them, they striked back. It is not to strike back. You know, it was like not too long ago, this businessman comes up to me and he starts talking to me, and you know, he even buys me a cup of coffee so I'd spend more time with him, you know. And I said, I don't really need a cup of coffee. And he says, no, come on, I need an extra few minutes with you. I need to ask you, what can I do to make a difference? You know, and I said to him, you have so much wealth. I said, I know you have kind of 50 million in your pocket there, and you have another 200 million over here. I said, why don't you share some of it? And he kind of looked at me a bit astonished, you know, share? You know? And he says, in what way do you mean? And here I said, angels, what can I say to him? He definitely doesn't listen at the moment. And they said to me, go and ask him, would he employ someone? Would he employ a man with a family and give him a job for the rest of his life, and make sure that they have a roof over their head, and that man can raise his family, you know, with dignity, with all the normal things? And I said that to this man, and you know, he was only about 50 something of age, you know, and he just looked at me. And the angel said, do you see the calculator going? And I said, no, but you must. And that's what the man did. He said, but that will cost me so much over 30 years. You know, what about my children? You know, I want to leave them lots. And I said, but you have so much. I said, please go home and think about it. I've never heard from him since. But I do pray that he shares some of his money, that he gives someone a job. And, you know, that's one thing any of us can do. You know, if there's any way you can give somebody a little bit of work. You know, it is to reach out to help others. You can't take anything to heaven with you. You know your soul doesn't take your clothes with you. It doesn't take your jewelry with you. It takes nothing. Because your soul doesn't need anything like that. So you take nothing to heaven with you. And everyone goes to heaven. And I always say to people, God has never shown me him sending anyone to hell, the place so many religions call hell, but yet I know it exists. You know, so I'm just so grateful he's never shown me that part of him sending anyone. So I know even if someone is bad, or very bad, because people would say to me, what about Hitler and, you know, people that have done, what about mass murderers? Even today, what about the terrorists, or what about the soldier? You know, but none of you know that at the last moment of that person's death, whether they ask for forgiveness and are sorry. We don't know that.
Okay. I wanted to ask about, you speak about what is vital for the evolution of mankind, and you speak about diversity of religion, which is what I think you most liked about the United States in that respect. And if you could speak. Sorry. What is vital for the evolution of mankind? And you spoke about the diversity of religions and how you saw so many here, especially in New York. And
yeah, that's one thing that has amazed me about New York, and actually about the whole of America, because I did go on a book tour, and it was to see all the different groups of different religions or different churches. I don't even know what to call it half of the time, you know. But I know the important thing is for you to try and become one. You know, to try and get it all under the umbrella. It was like one day I was in New York, and, you know, Jean was with me, and, you know, I suddenly got disorientated and lost a bit. And even Jean turned the wrong way. And as I walked down the street, how can I describe this? I saw a man, you know, sitting on steps, and he had beads of some kind in his hands, and he was praying away. And I said to the angels, that's lovely. And I saw an angel kneeling down in front of him praying. I didn't realise what religion he was now. You have to remember, I'm poverty green in that way. And then as I walked further, I saw all these shoes, and I said, angels, there's so many of you angels all around. Are they selling second-hand shoes? You know, because they were all old shoes. And they said, no, Lorna, look, can't you hear the prayer? And I stopped and listened for a second, and I turned. And I know Jean was around me somewhere, or walking along, and I turned. And it was like into this little garage or something, or a room. And it was kind of half down in the ground, and it was just full of light. And through the light I saw the angels, and then I saw the people. And I think they were Muslims, but they were praying, and the angels of prayer were there, gathering their prayers. And that's what we all have to remember. It doesn't matter what religion you are, you know, God's angels of prayer are there when you are praying, and God listens to all of our prayers. It's like, you know, it is so wonderful to see, so, you know, walking through the streets and seeing so many different religions, because you don't have that in Ireland. You know, seeing those men, you know, that man on the sidewalk sitting on the steps and he praying, you know, and seeing the angels with him. And then, you know, seeing those shoes and seeing inside, you know, the men there praying, and the light and the healing angels. It was the healing angels that were making this light, you know, of lifting those prayers so quickly. You know, I would never have seen that at home. So for me, that was something so wonderful to see. And I know I even kind of twisted and turned around, as I think I remember Jean saying, come on, you have to move, or something like that, because I didn't want to stop. And my own soul was praying with them. I wanted to stay and pray with them. And Jean said, you can't because it's not allowed. See, that's the part I don't understand. Because I'll pray with anyone, regardless of their religion, or regardless of their belief.
Yeah, well, one of the things I was thinking about you was that maybe some religions would like to take ownership of you.
That's something about religions as well. I can never allow to happen. I have to stay neutral for everyone.
Sometimes the topic itself, and being in New York and being what it is, a topic like this, people sometimes are afraid to express their beliefs because they feel perhaps they'll be ridiculed. And I think it's spoken that, centuries ago, maybe it was a much easier relationship, and that kind of fell away, and the mentality has changed, and now it seems like you were talking before, we're sort of in need of that again. And
yeah, we are. Even, when Michael said to me that day, when I was wheeling my young daughter home, it's getting close to the time you would write. And I had said to him, listen here, Michael, I can't even read or write properly. How on earth do you angels expect me even to write, a book? And he just said help would be sent. And I have to admit, at times, after that, I was a little scared. I said, listen, people, I said it to Michael umpteen times and to hosts umpteen times, I'm going to be ridiculed and laughed at. But you see, now it doesn't matter, because just looking down there at each and every one of you, I see your guardian angel right behind you. Your guardian angel is real. Your soul is real, and God is real. So it doesn't matter if you laugh or jeer me or even throw stones at me or someone says something nasty or bad. I only have to smile at them because of what I see. No, that's the only way, and people just have to get the courage, not to be afraid to say you believe in God, you believe you have a guardian angel, you believe you're protected, not to be afraid to admit times when you notice something in your life that, is unexplainable in one way, but yet it's spiritual in another. And to allow, your gifts to go inside of you. Because you all have so many gifts. I had to meet people who would say to me, I'm waiting for, some people would say clairvoyancy, or I'm waiting for the gift of healing. But do you know what the greatest gift is? You have all those gifts. That's the thing. That's part of the future. You actually have them all. But the most important gift is actually love, is to give love. And I know here in America you had 9/11, and I know that was a terrible thing to happen. But even if I smile, when I think of what the great meaning was behind that, it has opened, I know people lost their husband, their children, their sons, their daughters, their uncles, but none of those people died in vain because they died for a reason. It was part of their life, to help to open up all of the Americans, because since that has happened, the American people have become more loving towards each other. Even on my trip over now, I have actually been astonished watching how caring you have become, even when I'm on the train or waiting on a taxi or in a shop. You are becoming more and more friendlier. Something I didn't see at the beginning. You are changing. And you are changing rapidly. And even the elderly, I had to smile because on this trip, that's one thing the angels are showing me is the elderly. They're showing them in a way that they're, how would I say, a man of 80 odd years of age is, well, how can I say it now? You know, it's like a beacon of light is put around him. And I'm watching where younger people are smiling and talking to him. You know, I'm seeing this every single day since I've been here. I've seen how much, you know, that 9/11 has affected you, and you know now you have to reach out and help each other and be more loving towards each other. And that alone will open up the gifts within each and every one of you. It's the only way I can explain it. I know one day I'll write it and I'll get more, I'll be able to explain more. But sometimes things are beyond our comprehension. You know, sometimes people would say to me, I have a question, and they'd ask a question, but to that one question there's already another million questions and another million answers. It goes on and on. Sorry.
I know. Okay. Oh, I wanted to hear that. Because we do this because we want to understand something that I think we feel most of the time is intangible to us as humans, and we don't, because we've lost connection with it. And you speak about how children are kind of taught to lose that connection, whereas we have to relearn it. I wanted to ask you about, what does prayer look like when we're actually doing it? Because most of the time it seems like it's an alone process to us, or to me.
To yourself?
Yes.
Okay. Even if any of you there, you know, say a prayer real quickly, and even sometimes you might feel you have no meaning in the prayer, you're just rhyming it off. How can I explain this? But your soul does come forward a slight bit. But if you're in deep prayer, your soul even comes forward more. And the angels of prayer, it's so hard to describe it, but they're constantly carrying your prayer. It's like your prayer is there before it even comes from you humanly, because your soul is already doing it ahead of you. That's the only way, you know, it's just when you watch somebody in prayer, you would see a difference between different people depending on what way they're praying. But you never pray alone, because there's always loads of angels around you. They just home in. Even if you're sitting on a train, or you're sitting on a bus, or you're walking down the street, and a lot of people think I have to say a prayer, like a prayer that you know that's in a book. But a lot of us pray from our heart, and we don't even know we're praying. You know, we're actually asking for a loved one. It's a worry. It has become a prayer. It's the only way.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to understand that. You, in the last chapters of the book, you came and started a chapter off by explaining Michael the Archangel, which, by the way, I grew up, and there were certain stories told to me about Michael the Archangel, and I grew up scared of Michael the Archangel. And I said, I can't really address him because he seems like a very powerful being, and if I don't behave or don't do like a child, you know, I'll get in trouble or something. Anyway, about 2 years before I met you, I started to meditate on him, and I needed to have him in my presence. And I actually heard feathers. Then I heard a sword. Why am I saying this out loud? But it's just an experience I had before I met Lorna. So, and by the way, I may be losing my train of thought, but I think I needed to say that. But in the book, you say that he comes to you for the first time in another way, that you had not seen him before, and that he was dressed in a princely manner, and he gives you a prayer for all of those that come to you for help.
Yeah, and you know that prayer is in the book, and I give that prayer out to as many people as possible. But people like yourself are giving the prayer out. It's just amazing. you know, to see how that prayer is actually all around the world now. You know, and I suppose maybe to share something with you is, you know, I'm playing my part and doing what God and the angels have asked me to do. And I know the angels are doing what God has asked them to do as well. But you're doing the same. And one thing you don't realise is that you are helping countless people all around the world, because you have spread the word of the book. I hear from, you know, people in Colombia, China, all over the place saying, you know, they got this book in the post, you know, it has changed their life. You know, somebody sent it to them, they got it a present, you know, and sometimes they'll say they don't even know the person who sent it to them. You know, and it's all the healing that people are allowed to happen, and we're not keeping all that healing just for ourselves. We're giving it out to others. And, you know, we need this world to change, and that's why God and the angels have had me writing and answering questions for people to give them the understanding, for you to grow more spiritual, for you to become more and more aware, you know, and for yourself, because some of the futures I have seen for man are just absolutely brilliant. Now I have been shown some that aren't, you know, but it all depends on the choices we make. You know, just like your president, you know, he's actually made the right choice, even if you think it's the wrong one now. You know, but you actually did make the right one. You know, and it is to keep on listening, and listening to whatever way your angel talks to you, whether it's a strong feeling you're given, or whether it's a voice in your head, or some people might say it's a gut feeling, or they might say they get all tingly or something like that. It's whatever way your guardian angel can communicate with you, you know, to try and respond to it. They're absolutely great teachers. Look at me. They've taught me everything I know. You know, I wasn't educated or anything. You know, my parents were told I was retarded. That means mentally incapable of learning anything. And, you know, I went to school and you were put down the back of the class and you were just ignored. You know, you weren't even spoken to or anything like that. And, you know, look at what God and the angels have me doing. You know, and I hear so many people saying, what's my destiny in life? And I know I have said this loads of times. Your destiny is to live life. You know, your destiny is 1,000,001 different things. I'd feel very sad sometimes at a book signing when, you know, maybe a young woman comes up to me, or an older woman, you know, of 50 or 60, you know, or the same with the man, and they say to me, what's my destiny in life? I haven't found it yet. And their angel around them and the other angels would look so sad, and they would ask me to ask them, what have you done in life? And they would list off a load of things. You know, just let's say they were a mechanic, you know, they helped in the boys, Scouts Club, I don't know if you have it here. You know, they have a wife and children and they've reared their family well. All of those things are your destiny. Don't think that only one thing is your destiny. Just look at me. You know, all the things I have done in my life. But I kept on doing what God asked me to do, what the angels asked me to do. But yet loads of times now I have to tell you I said no. Now I would just say no at times, but I'd still end up doing it. You can say no as many times as you like, but just know in your back of your head you have to do it. Like, it's like if it was water on the floor there and they said you're to mop it up, and I'd say no, I don't want to. Well, you know you have to. And it's the same with your life. You know, your guardian angel helps you so much. You know, I met a young woman today. I was in a restaurant and I had gone to the loo, and there was only one loo, so there was a bit of a queue, and I came out and she was standing there, and she said hello, and I said hi, you know, and this is the friendliness again, the angels showing me. And the angels had told me she's unemployed. Ask her, what does she do? You know, and I said, but you've told me, why do I need to ask her? You know, but they said, go and ask her, you know. And I said to her, you know, what do you do? You know, what are you working at? And she says, I'm unemployed at the moment, you know, but I'm here in New York with my friend having some good fun time out. So I was so happy because the angels lit her up and lit up her energy field around her and said, she's going to get a job because she's going to go out looking. And they told me she'll take any job she'll get, you know. And that's what you have to do when times are bad, is take whatever job you can get. And once you're doing something, so that your life will keep moving. Don't be giving up on life, any of you, or I'll go around pinching you. You know, just don't give up on life. You're never alone for 1 second. Your guardian angel is there helping you, and so are the souls of your loved ones.
Well, no, not at all, because what you're saying kind of happened to me. Lorna asked me to do this interview, and I've been avoiding it for 6 months. I suffer from a great deal of stage fright, so of course I said, how am I going to make it up there? But she's very convincing, and I know that they worked on me, plus my rescue remedy. So yes, we're doing it. So we're doing it. But so we're, what?
We're doing great.
Thank you. So they got me to break my foot because the only way I could get off the stage is to crawl off of it. So we're in the holiday season, which is the perfect season for angels because they're everywhere. They're in movies, and Bishop's Wife is one of my favorite. I thought of the movie Wings, a German movie in black and white about 20, 30 years ago, and that's the first time that I remember when I read Lorna's book, I thought, oh, that reminds me of that movie. The angels were with people, and they were always talking to them and trying to tell them to do the right thing. But since this is the season for it and we see it everywhere, how is it in the spirit world? What is going on with angels in holiday time?
Well, there's two things I will tell you about, and I know one is in Angels in My Hair. I know I have written and told you about, you know, as a young child and right up to today, seeing angels dropping these balls of light on every home, no matter what a home is made out of. And I even see that here in New York, you know, dropping it over buildings, you know, and I know it is filling, you know, every home and trying to kindle, you know, the Christmas spirit in all of you. You know, but one wonderful thing is to see, you know, that spark in children. I don't see it in every child, and that actually disappoints me, but it's actually a spark of Christmas. And when I see it, how can I say, the child seems to give off this beautiful radiant light, and, you know, of such love and gentleness. You know, I have seen it at home, and I have seen it here as well, of just that kindness and that gentleness, you know, and then to see the angels that would be around that child and mingling with the other children. And that's why I call it the spark, because it's like a spark that is within the child. It just bursts out. But as well as that, the angels that are around the child who is full of the spark, how can I describe them? They're absolutely beautiful. It's like every part of them is made of a spark. Now if you can imagine an angel just glittering and glowing like that, you know, I was asked, do you mean like tinsel? And I had to laugh and say, no comparison whatsoever. You know, and sometimes you would see wings on these angels. I don't always see angels' wings. I always feel it's only when they allow me. You know, but there is another angel I have never written about. And I have just actually written part of a piece, and I gave it to my editor. And I have said I won't write the rest of what I know about this angel. But this angel I only see at Christmas time. You know, this angel comes at, you know, the end and the beginning of the year. Starts to come in November and all the way through to December and into the new year. But this angel is beautiful, and how can I even saw one, I've seen more than one here in New York, but I saw one, as I just say, walking down the mountain. They don't come like other angels. You know, other angels, I always say, seem to fall down here. They just get here so quick. But this angel, how can I describe? They're so tall, but yet so broad. And I have to say they look masculine. The human appearance they give looks very, very male. And they're dressed in what I would say, the human appearance, I'm still trying to describe because I've only started to write about them. So the material is kind of heavy. Okay, it looks heavy. It's kind of dark in colour as well, and yet I know there's other colours within it, but they're dark colours. But going through the material is this, you know, gold thread in places. And through the gold thread, you see the angel. You see the light of the angel. But the most important thing is that I see them walk down. It's like they're walking down a mountain. You know, and I was sitting in a restaurant and I have to smile because the man I see over there is himself. And I had glanced and looked out the restaurant window and I saw the angel walking down. You know, and they walk among us, these angels, and they walk up so straight, so powerful. They walk between us. They walk between yourselves. Your guardian angel doesn't speak to them, but yet they know why they're there. Other angels and souls know why they're there. And they touch you. They touch everybody's soul at Christmas to help to bring, you know, that spirituality, bring your soul forward in you, to kindle that little bit of what you remember or what you don't remember of before you came to this earth of heaven. You know, and that's as much as I'm giving to my editor, in a sense, so that's all I can give to yourselves. And just like all angels, their feet don't touch the ground. You know, but even when I'm sitting in a restaurant, I see them walking among the people, and it's just the way they walk. It's just the way they move between the people, and they touch your soul. You see, they reach out, and it's like as if, you know, they go through your body. They touch your soul. It's very hard to describe. I'm all the time trying to find words, but they are a very special angel. And they're here only for Christmas. They don't stay. So, and even when you see the spark, you know, within a child, sometimes I have seen it within a 13, 14-year-old child. And when I see it in an older child or in an adult, I love that. Because I know if any of you could see that spark, you yourselves, how can I say, would light up like a spark as well. You know, and it is for us all to remember that this is the time of year when different religions celebrate. It's not just Christmas, it's, you know, the Passover, and I believe there's something else coming as well, and it's Christmas time. It is this very special time of the year that great spiritual celebration goes on. You know, and to see that spark in children or in teenagers or the odd time in an adult. And just imagine, if you can, within your mind, you know, that angel that is made of sparks. I can only say made of sparks. It is that what they wear is made of sparks. And perfect. By the way, angels are perfect. I've never seen any angel with even a crease out of line. Even when they move. It's just now that I'm thinking of it. You know, there's never anything out, you know. We're so imperfect, and they're so perfect. But yet our souls are more than any angel. And always remember, that's why your guardian angel never leaves you for 1 second, because you have a soul, and your soul is that little speck of light of God. You know, you're more than any soul. And just like when a mother loses a child or someone loses a loved one, the angels tell me they love the expression we use, and it is an expression of love we use. We say, your loved one is an angel now in heaven. But that's an expression of love. Your loved one is more than any angel in heaven. Because angels are only creatures, only created by God. Each and every one of us is God's children, because we're that little speck of light. And that's why your guardian angel, that's why the angels love to be around us. And that's why your guardian angel allows in a soul to be around you as well, because that enhances the light. Because imagine, the soul has already gone to heaven, so of course your guardian angel loves it to be in and around you. Okay?
Beautiful. Well, I think that we'd like to now wrap it up a little and perhaps start our questions. And someone will come around with a mic, and if you could raise your hand, someone will be there and Lorna will answer your question. The first hand that went back there, who has the mic? Who? Amanda?
Amanda?
That lady back there, could stand up please, that raised your hand in the back. Right there, back there, yes, could you stand up? Look, bring me the mic, all the way back, this lady back there, all the way back. Yes, back there. The person who first raised your hand. Over here. Yes, over there. Lady back there. She raised her hand. All right. She's not raising her hand anymore.
Hi. My question is for you. The reason I bought the book is because I had a dream in 2004. Two angels were in my head.
It is because the angels touch my hair, but not because, of any angel doing it. It is because of a very special, how can I say this? I'm telling God now, he put me in trying to avoid a question. Let's say a very, very powerful angel touches my hair at times, and they told me to call the book Angels in My Hair, because they do touch everyone's head all of the time, and they do touch people's hair. Sometimes when you feel a tingle or a little pull, but personally for myself, it is because at times a particular angel, that's the closest you'll get. Okay? I'm not really allowed to answer that question.
Amanda, this lady right here. Sorry.
Could you stand up?
Stand up, yes. Oh.
I'm in such awe of you, Miss Lorna. I know I don't exactly how you feel, but it's an honor beyond belief. I want to know where you keep the angel center that came to you. That is so exciting. You're so excited.
I have it hidden away. Hidden away.
Is it insured for millions and billions?
No, it's just hidden away.
What an exciting moment that was for you. Can you tell me a little something about it?
It was very exciting because it was, I was feeling so down and lonely and everything, because Joe had died, just like any woman out there that would have loved the husband dearly, and just getting the feather, and I suppose maybe just tell you the end of it was, I was walking along as I thought I was walking, but I wasn't really, and just watching the feather coming down and seeing the angels, and it, kind of a million miles away from me, but never getting any bigger, and as it got closer it was still the same size, and leaping into the air, actually doing that. And at that moment when I leaped into the air, everything came back to normal. And I don't know to this day what the people thought that were actually walking towards me. You know, that elderly couple or that other man and woman, or I don't know what they thought. No one has ever come forward and said, Lorna, we were there. We saw you leap into the air and grab something, but we didn't see what you grabbed. And of course, when I grabbed it, you know, it was like as if I came back down 3 feet. I know I leaped into the air, you know, and just held it close to me, you know, and then suddenly feeling all the cold, you know, where before I wasn't cold or anything. I didn't even feel a breeze. You know, when God does things, when the angels do things, it's so overwhelming as well. And of course the feather is precious because that was for me, it was a gift.
Okay. One more question. How are your siblings affecting your angels? And how do they react to you?
One of my boys, or the 4 of them, have said, you know, Mom, you know, well, let's say 3 of them have said, Mom, we know you're different. We always knew that, but we could never put our finger on it as we were grown. And my youngest daughter, Megan, in the book, she was 4 at the time when her dad died, and she'll be 15 this Christmas. You know, her life is completely different than my other 3 children. You know, how could I say, she gives me, I don't know how she puts up with her mother, like really, because I'm away now, and I got a text message, I know she's in bed now because I think it's night time in Ireland, you know, and she's saying, Mom, I miss you, hurry home, you know, and she told me she bought a card for her brother, and she says, Mom, it cost €5. I hope you'll give me the money for it when you get back. You know, she's great. My children, you know, give great support. I couldn't manage without them. I am living with my son at the moment because we're travelling so much. I had to move back up to Maynooth, and you know, so that I could travel, so that my daughter and my other 2 sons could mind their younger sister. You know, so her 2 brothers are like a father, and her sister, as she just say, she's like a second mother to her. Okay. Thank you.
How do you keep your thoughts following what the angels say all the time? Because I know it's difficult, like every day, I know.
How can I say it? Even now, they're talking to me. Even now, my soul is praying at the same time. Even though I'm here, I don't know, to be honest with you. I can't answer that question.
Do you, like in the morning, do you just say, no, I'm not going to do it, or yes, I'm going to do it? Because I play with that all the time, continuous. It's like I have all this constant talking in the other side of me, and people will say, oh, she's nuts. But, you know, I'm not. Just saying.
No, it is my life. I know nothing else. I have seen the angels since I opened my eyes. You know, even looking here at yourselves and watching the angels here, you know, how can I say, sometimes some of the angels are saying, you aren't quite following something. Sometimes they're telling me you're not paying attention, you know, depending on where I look. And sometimes I've been told they're intrigued. Now they're intrigued, you know, in that way. And sometimes it's just natural. It's like, you know, walking down the road, I am distracted, and when the angels attract my attention to something special, you know, for a person or that, I'd have to be careful that they don't catch me staring at them, you know, because I wouldn't like someone to know in that way. It's just normal. It is my life. I know nothing else. So.
Young woman with short hair, right about 1, 2, 3, third, fourth row, right there. Yes. Could you stand up? Yes.
Remember to point the microphone head right at your mouth.
Thank you. I'd like some guidance on how to relate or find some way to help a young child with spiritual growth who has such wonderful spiritual gifts at 10, and trying to help her on that road to increase her spirituality, but in a way that she can relate to. And hopefully she's awake and can hear this right now.
Well, I think the best thing you can do is ask your guardian angel to ask their guardian angel to help them in that way. If humanly, us adults, interfere too much, we'll actually close a lot of the gifts down within the child, because they will become afraid. And you have to remember, I just see loads of times, you know, just recently here in New York, I saw a child, maybe a little girl, and she was about maybe 5. And the angels that were around her, you know, 2 beautiful angels, they were kind of dressed in gold. That's the only, and they gave a female appearance. And they said this child is very gifted. But if a parent overdoes it, you know, you have to remember young children have just come from heaven, you know, and they are very open. But, you know, there's so much going on in the world around, there's even so much TV and everything like that, that it can frighten a child, you know, and they can get confused. And even the other side can confuse them too. So you have to be careful. So you ask your guardian angel to ask theirs. That's the first step. You know, I have to smile because loads of children all around the world from the age of 8 are reading angels in my hair. They would tell me at book signings they don't understand everything in it, but they find things that they understand, and they don't have to talk about it to other adults. It's like as if they learn to communicate themselves with the angels. You know, so I wouldn't interfere too much. I'd be very careful. Okay?
Gentleman over here.
Gentleman over here. Oh,
Okay.
Do you know what my angel looks like right now? Like, could you tell which angel's mine?
Well, I have to smile. You have a beautiful, it's not your guardian angel, and your guardian angel's light has not opened up, but I see your guardian angel's light right behind you. But I do see another beautiful angel standing to this side of you. I'm neither left nor right, so I have to do this hand, this side of you. And that angel is showing a female appearance, and it's just glowing so, so bright. And I'm actually seeing wings. The wings are slender and they're like feathers, but yet not like feathers. I'm only trying to describe for you.
Orange color.
No, I'm not seeing an orange, but sometimes you have to remember if your guardian angel or the angel with you is giving you an orange colour, then that is the colour that you can see yourself. But I'm not seeing orange. Okay, I can't lie to you. Okay?
This gentleman here.
Thank you. First of all, it's a great pleasure to listen to you speak. You're a wonderful speaker, and we all appreciate it. I have 2 questions. I'm a spiritual advisor myself, and there's a lot of my friends and people who I know who are so lost and confused, and they say to me, I can't hear my angels, I don't know if they exist, I don't know how to pay attention to the signs. They're truly lost in life, financially, emotionally, spiritually, sexually, everything. And they're just looking for answers. I mean, I do, go into meditation, I help them with some specific answers, but when they're not around me, for themselves on a daily basis, they're confused. Even when they in their prayers, or so they say they pray, but in their way of trying to pray, it's like they're just stuck. So it's like, how do you try to get somebody to understand on a higher level that they are being helped, or what signs to look for?
Well, I would say maybe the first sign is for them really to acknowledge that they have a guardian angel themselves, for them to really start to believe that they have, and ask them to start to maybe just say, like, today, was there anything in today that they can relate to the guardian angel? It could be like, you know, they almost dropped something but didn't drop it. Angels are great teachers. And I suppose maybe another thing would be for you to ask them to ask their guardian angel, or you ask your guardian angel to ask theirs, but it would be better for you to ask them to ask theirs, okay, to send angels to teach them. So many people forget they are great, great teachers. And loads of the time we miss the teaching that they're giving us because we say to ourselves, what's in it for me? You know, it's like if you gave me this glass of water, or I'd be saying, well, what's in it for me? You know, in that way, your guardian angel might tell you, you know, to move that glass of water. Just move it. Don't look for a reason. They're looking for reasons. You know, when they're teaching you, there is no reason, only teaching you.
When somebody is in a process or at that point of their life, this is a second question, at the point of where they feel like committing suicide, or people who do actually pull through on committing suicide, why do you think the angels don't speak louder to their soul, or are strong enough to keep them from doing it? I know every soul has free will.
Yeah.
But why is it that
the angel is, and that's what I see the guardian angel doing all of the time, is intertwined with that person. If that person is so close to committing suicide or even thinking about it, I can assure you that guardian angel is intertwined within them. You know, I see that every day when I walk down the street. And yes, I see it here. You know, and that is the thing for you to know, that your guardian angel is intertwined with you and is actually trying to keep that little bit of light going. Your guardian angel is working very hard, but you can be sure your guardian angel is even asking those around you to give you a helping hand. But a lot of the times we don't listen. A lot of the times family and friends get fed up of what they would say, someone who is depressed or someone who feels so bad. Like I would meet fathers who have lost jobs, you know, and in Ireland they could be already 2 years out of work, and they would come to a book signing and I'd see the angel intertwined within them. And sometimes the guardian angel would tell me that this man is so close to committing suicide, talk to him. And I would talk, and I would beg the man not to, because I have met so many families where a father did commit suicide, and you know what the teenagers say, or the younger children? They would turn around and say, we'd rather have our dad alive now and living in a caravan. All the material things didn't matter. You know, and it is to get that through. And I know I have said that to loads of men who would have families, and they would turn around and they would say, you know, you saved my life again. You just telling me that made me realise how precious I am to my children. Or even, you know, again I have to say, at book signings and on the website, I'd get letters in, and men and women, even, you know, even single men who would say that they have a problem sexually with themselves, you know, but they would say they read the book and that saved their life. It's what they find within it. I know I could go on and on. It's you know, when someone commits suicide, I feel so sad, because I had to say to God and the angels, why did you send them to me? But they can't send everyone, because I think everyone would fill the whole of Ireland.
So they have to read the book.
in that way. So I know that's one reason why the angels have had me write angels in my hair and put it out there.
Okay.
I will ask for help for you.
Okay.
Okay.
This first hand right up here, go about 5, 6 rows down. Could you stand up, please, lady? Right, yes, you. Here. Right here, over here. Sorry.
Hi, Lorna. My name is Terry. I'd like to know how do I know the name of my guardian angel? Can you see her name?
Okay, I have to say this to everyone because everyone all over the world is asking that question. I said to the angels, what am I going to do? I can't answer that for everyone. And they said, now this is the angel's words, not mine. But if you say these words to a young child will answer me straight away and tell me the name of the guardian angel without hesitation. I know saying to you adults, you're going to him and her. You're going to say, I can't think. But the angel's words are, it's the name that you love that's in your heart. It's already there. And sometimes the angels to say they're not getting it, and I just say, okay, what else can I say to them? And what else the angels have said is just pluck a name and put it in your heart. And one of the most common names all around the world is, I bet you can't guess. Well, I know loads of people do say Michael is their guardian angel, but it can't be. Okay? But yet loads of guardian angels are called Michael. Guardian angel.
That's it?
Millions of people just call the guardian angel. Okay?
The lady over here, right next to, right there. She should stand up. Yes, with the glasses.
Do you talk to your angels?
Do I talk to my angels?
Yes. Can we talk to them?
Sorry, I don't understand.
Can we talk to our angels?
Oh yes, you should. You should every day. Every day when you wake up, you should ask them to help you. Ask them to help you. It could be even cleaning the house. It could be that you're going out to meet someone. Ask your guardian angel to ask theirs, that you have a good time, that the union would be nice, whatever way. Of course.
I start to feel around me most of the time when I am down or depressed.
Well, then that could be your angel giving you that scent, that smell, giving you reassurance. Angels communicate with us in so many different ways, but sometimes as well, it's the soul of a loved one. But you would recognize that yourself.
Do they also communicate with light?
Sorry?
Light.
We're not hearing the question.
Do they also communicate with lights?
With lights?
Turning on a light on and off.
Yeah, they often do that loads of times on me. I've gone places and they've turned off all the lights. I'd have rows with them now in one sense saying, "You don't dare do that."
It happened to me, that's why I'm asking.
Right behind you, lady, right there.
Hello, Lorna. I want to ask a question about my son. He has told me some remarkable stories. He's 9 years old, about how he came here, why he's here. He talks to the angels. He's told me he's seen the Virgin Mary. And I know the stories, he can't possibly make them up. And I listen to him and I'm just amazed by him. So we've tried to help him to remember. So is it possible that at 9 years old he does remember?
It is that he remembers. Remember, he has just come from heaven, so he's sharing with you. He may forget them all as time goes on. Again, I would say just listen, and let him grow spiritually. And maybe when he's older you can say, you used to talk to your guardian angel. But I just say to parents, you should remind your children that they have a guardian angel. You should say to your children when they're going out to school, don't forget to ask your guardian angel to help to look after you. That helps to keep a child spiritually awake, of having no fear, about their angel, or that it's perfectly all right to ask. I have met, so many young children who have turned around already and have said to me, and they would be all different religions, and they would say, we really didn't know we had a guardian angel. They actually really didn't know. It was kind of maybe just passed in speech once or twice, but they didn't really know. It was just like, I done a book signing here in, where was it, Tampus or someplace, and it was a Catholic bookshop. I was informed the other day, I never really noticed myself. I just thought it was a beautiful shop, and it was just so full of angels. And there was a queue there for the book signing, and an angel tapped me on the shoulder, and I slightly turned and said, there is a mother and child in the queue. This is very important for you to speak with them. And other people were coming up, and I was signing the book and chatting with them. And then when I looked up, I see this mother with a young girl walking up. And the mother was only maybe about, maybe 35, she was very, very young, and she had this little girl about 7, maybe 6 or 7, and trying to judge her age. And they sat down beside me, and the angels said, she's shaking, the mother is shaking, and I could see an angel putting her hands on her shoulders to keep her calm, and another angel, separate from the guardian angel, had their arms wrapped around the child. And the mother kind of burst out crying in between her tears, saying, do we have a guardian angel? Are we allowed in here? I know we shouldn't be here. And I didn't realise, I can be awful slow, I didn't realise why she was saying that. It was because it was a Catholic shop, and she was Jewish. And her little girl, of course, was Jewish. And they desperately wanted to know, do they have a guardian angel? And I was actually astonished looking at her. Of course you have. And your little girl, how could you even think you haven't? And she said, but we're Jewish, we didn't know. And I didn't even understand that, because I thought Jews know they have a guardian angel. And she turned around, and I was watching the angels, loving them so much. And even sometimes the angels looked as if they were crying. And the mother was continued to cry, and the little girl started to cry as well, and I hugged them. And I said, tell me, what else is wrong? And the mother said, we really need to know. And the little girl said that my daddy had a guardian angel. And I said, of course your daddy had a guardian angel. And did his guardian angel go to heaven with him? Of course he did. They desperately wanted to know as well that the mother, that her husband, the little girl, that her daddy had a guardian angel. So you have to tell everyone. Of course everyone has a guardian angel. To me that was so sad, but yet so beautiful. I just share that with you. Okay? So,
Linda, right here, this lady right here.
Thank you so much for all that you're doing for all of us. I'm wondering, when a loved one dies, do they become your angel, or are they, my mom passed away too. So what happens at that point?
I can't hear.
When a loved one dies, what happens at that point? Do they become your angel? My mom passed away in June, and I feel her.
Of course you feel her. It's your guardian. Your mom is more than any angel. Your mom is a soul. She's in heaven. And of course you feel her. Your guardian angel loves to allow your mom in around you. but your mom comes and goes, because you can feel a soul more than you can feel any angel. Isn't that beautiful? You know your mom is not dead, only her body has died and has rotted away in the ground, but your mom lives. She's a soul, and she's in heaven, and yet she's with you at the same time, helping you.
Thank you, that's wonderful.
Do you have your hand up?
Lady with the glasses. Do you have your hand up?
Hi, Lorna. Hi. I had a chance to buy a new book online, Stairways to Heaven. It's wonderful. Thank you for writing it.
You're welcome.
And I wanted to ask you to talk a little bit about the spirit of Mother Earth and how can we help.
Well, I know maybe not all of you have read the second book, and I talk about the angel Jimison. I won't tell everything because it's just, we'd be here too long. But when I was 4 years of age, I was out playing at the garden wall, which was only so high, and the angels that were with me, said, Lorna, look in at the trees. Above the trees you will see the angel. And I looked, but I couldn't see. And of course, they told me to look up higher, and that's when I saw the angel Jimison. He was absolutely, and he still is to this day, enormous, and I see him on different occasions. He's just kind of a red with a black, his I can't say his clothes are armour or anything like that. He's enormous, but the one important thing was that he had, as a young child, I would describe it as a stick, in his hand, and it went down alongside him, but it grew, and he called my name, and it was like 1 second, I was at a garden wall, and then I was up beside him, and I was back then at the garden wall, but what he did was he tapped the earth. It's like as if his stick just grew longer, went down and tapped the earth, and it made the earth vibrate. I, as a young child, felt it vibrate under me, and I was terrified. And I ran straight into the house, into my mum and dad. And all as I can say about the angel Jimison, he is the gatekeeper of the earth. He's the guardian angel of the earth, and he guards our planet and the spirit of the earth. I know we, in different cultures, they might call it, Mother Earth, but it's real, because one day the angel Jimison opened up the earth for me, and I saw her, and she's beautiful. I have to say female because she looks so female. Just incredible, and it's like her arms are like sails, and they stretch out. And we're very precious to Mother Earth. We're very precious to the spirit of Earth, whatever you want to call her. And it is, she's doing everything possible not to destroy life, because life is very important to her, all life. But I'm afraid we're making so many holes in the earth, we forget to fill the holes back in. What would you say, for the material things, we just keep taking from her, and we're not giving anything back. We're cutting down trees, and we're using them for other things, instead of leaving some there just to rot and go into the ground, what they're meant to do. I wrote a lot about the spirit of the earth and the angel Jimison, and all as I can say about the angel Jimison, he's very emotional. I can only describe it that way. I feel such compassion and such emotion that he has, and yet such frustration that he has, because we don't listen. But his job is to try and keep the spirit of the earth as calm as possible, that when she turns or moves, she doesn't do it too quickly. And all as I can say is, from that time, when I was very young, when he done that with the stick, I don't think you call it a stick now, it's definitely not. He's one angel that I have to say, wow, how can I describe this? I know I described it in the book a little bit. He does frighten me, and yet I know there's no need to fear him. He's the only angel that I have felt those emotions from. His love, you'd have to read it to understand it, you know. Okay?
Hi.
I heard
I had a quick question since we have a piano and an organ on the stage. Could you talk a little bit about the angels of music and what you see when people perform and what you see when people are inspired, making art or things like that?
I have to smile because, you know, I don't go out to musical things very often. It's something very, very rare. So all I can say is when I was on, you know, my tour here, the book tour in America, a few of the places where I spoke, they had a band or people were singing, and it was just so wonderful to watch the angels mimicking the people playing the instruments and singing with them. Angels of music do inspire us with the gifts we have inside of us, even artists to draw. You know, we don't do anything alone. I know I have only realised that now, the last year or so, that there's not even a physical thing that we do alone. The angels help us all the time. You know, and just to watch them even playing instruments. You know, many a time I would see and hear the music angels, but I could never put it into words because humanly I don't have a note in my head. I wish I had, you know, but I don't. But I'd hear their music. And then when you watch, you know, I know if there was a group of people here playing music or singing, I'd be seeing just so much more and hearing so much more. You know, so always ask, if you're an artist of any kind, ask your guardian angel to have, you know, an angel of music or art in around you to help you. Okay?
No, where are you? Is that all the way back? That's Johanna.
Thank you very much. My angel must have talked to your angel to make this happen. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Lorna, thank you so much. This is unreal that you're here and I'm able to ask this question. I have two questions. Number one, it's a little bit embarrassing because I feel very passionate about this and I don't know how people see it. But, there's times in my life where I really crave to be with God. And yet I hear what you're saying, that our destiny here is to live life. And it's not that I want to take my life, it's that I want to be with God.
I understand that clearly. I would go now if God would take me, but He won't. He always sends me back, so I give out to Him. That is you growing spiritually, and you're connecting more with your soul. You know, so that's natural, but you must live your life. Each and every one of us are here for so many reasons. You know, how can I explain, even when I hear of a death, you know, an innocent death, I have watched the angel of death trying to save life. And so many of us think the angel of death is, you know, goes around killing. But the angel of death doesn't. The angel of death in this world tries to prevent innocent life from being taken. But so many times we don't listen. You know, and even, you know, when you see the guardian angel intertwined with a person who is thinking of committing suicide, you must live life. That is one of the most important gifts and love, because we all need each other. You know, so many people say to me, but you know, I have no purpose in life. But you have to remember 9/11, when those towers, I know all of you were affected emotionally because those lives were lost. It touched your souls. It brought you forward. So always allow your soul to come forward. When you pray, if you feel like that when you're praying, that's wonderful. I could tell you loads, but we can't stay here telling you loads about what's happening.
Thank you. Second question is, could you tell me something specific about my angel and what it is maybe saying to you, to convey to you?
Well, I'm just asking your guardian angel, would he tell me something of his appearance? But your guardian angel said it won't open up, okay? But your guardian angel has just said that, how can I describe, there's 2 crossed swords. And I don't know what that means, just 2 crossed swords.
It has 2 crossed
swords.
And it wants you to come back.
Yeah. No, I haven't finished already.
Thank you.
Okay.
Next, the gentleman right there, right back there, back there. Yes, you. Yes, you.
Hello, my name's Andy. I'm a little nervous, so forgive me if I ramble. A few years ago, my mom had a stroke, and she has since been living with short-term memory loss. She lives in 5 minutes, bits throughout every day. And it's had a devastating effect on her and my family, and I'm very sad and angry about it. So I guess my question is, have you had any conversations with angels about why there is pain and suffering? And if so, is it worthwhile praying for healing and change?
It is worthwhile praying for healing and change. I suffer, I go through pain too. We have a human body, and it's not perfect. It will get sick. It's like the moment we're born, our human body starts to die. And I know we said your mother had a stroke, and it's very hard. Sometimes the healing then is not for your mother when you pray for it. It is actually for your family, to give you strength, to help to put compassion into you, to understand, I suppose you would have maybe another bit of understanding, even though you would be angry, to see someone you love suffer. But more than likely, her soul is not suffering at all. It's only the human body. More than likely, she may not be feeling. That is the same, mothers would say that to me about their child. Why did their child get sick? Why did their child become terminally ill? And I would meet many terminally ill children, and sometimes they would get better. And sometimes, the child would turn around and say, Lorna, my guardian angel is telling me I'll be going to heaven soon, and I've been trying to tell Dad and Mom, but they just won't listen. Would you not tell Dad and Mom? And here I'd be saying, oh God, I can't just come out and tell your Dad and Mom. So I'd ask the angels to help me with words to say to the parents. It is so, so sad, but yet sometimes when someone does become terminally ill, it helps the rest of the family to grow spiritually. The family, I'd hear from so many families who would say, all the material things that mattered before in life don't matter anymore. It is only to spend what time they have with the loved one that they have. But yet I know it was hard to spend time with your mom and seeing her that way. But yet it's for some reason to help you to grow spiritually as well. And your family, sometimes it's just so, you can't find words. I could say, well, why did God put Joe in my life? Why did he tell me when I was only 10, that he was going to come sick and die? That we wouldn't grow old together. But yet they told me that. And I could even say, why did he have to suffer? But yet I could never tell him that I knew he was going to die, that I knew how sick he was, because the good years he had, he lived life to the fullest he could, and that's what we all have to do. When, the old saying, your health is your wealth as well, to live life to the fullest, because none of us know what tomorrow will bring. I don't know what tomorrow will bring, and yet God has shown me and the angels so many different futures. Sometimes I could be going down a road and an angel, would turn around and tell me, this father is only going to be with their children for 5 years, but look at him. And I would look and I would see that this man with his children is really loving them and caring for them. And, maybe they don't have much, but yet you would see the love and the joy. So it wouldn't be up to me to go over to this man and say, by the way, I know you're going to die in 5 years. Why would you do that? When he had so much to give to his children. That God was allowing him to pour this love onto his children, so that when he wasn't here anymore, physically, the children would have that strength and that love of knowing what a good father is. You could go on and on. I give out to God every day. I give out to the angels, why isn't Joe still here? But I wouldn't wish him to be here, because I know his body physically would be in a terrible state. I know he's in heaven. And, I suppose I have been privileged, maybe more than other people, that God has allowed me on my daughter's Holy Communion to see Joe physically as I see yourselves there. And another time for him to hold me in his arms. But I've been told, that won't probably happen again. But yet I hold all that just like the feather in my heart. And there's so many things you can hold in your heart of your mother. Your mother wouldn't want you to be thinking of the bad times, only the good times. Okay?
Amanda? I'm sorry. Could you go to the other side? There's more people from that side. Yeah, towards the end of it. All the way down. To get a little bit from everywhere. You don't have
should
many.
Be fish.
Thank you. I'm Maggie. Thank you so much for your book. I read it, and it was wonderful. A few years ago, my mother died, and it was sudden. And I was home visiting her in England, and the night before she died, none of us knew she was going to die. I was walking up the stairs, and there was this very strange mist, and I was looking around trying to figure out where this pocket of mist came. And I walked through it, and I looked behind me, and it kind of disappeared. And I never really thought much about it until she died the next day, and the priest was giving her the last rites, and suddenly it came to me, and I was like, was that some kind of guardian angel coming to take her? I've always wondered just what that was. It was very clear and real.
I think it was just a sign for yourself, that your mom was going to be leaving soon, and you just put two and two together later on. Loads of people all over the world would know when, a loved one is going to die. Sometimes they would maybe dream of them the night before, or, they might hear their mother's voice or something like that and say, but Mom's not here. Or you get an urgency to go and visit. Okay?
Right there. And we have one more question after that.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I received a great piece from, reading your first book, and really felt inspired to share it with a lot of friends. So Amazon wrote to a lot of people. And coming from a Catholic tradition as you do, when I got to the second book, I became very kind of conflicted that I knew some of my friends would feel like you were touching areas of reincarnation, which is in our tradition, and that perhaps speaking a little more about maybe the Holy Spirit, Eucharist, and that coming from the same tradition, and I was wondering if you could help clarify some of that.
Well, you have to remember, I only can tell you what God and the angels have shown me and told me all my life. And I think the Spirit is what you're talking about, and the story about the two souls. It was to explain that they were souls, and the most wonderful thing that I have ever known that any souls have ever done, that they done what they did for love, for the sins of those that had harmed them. I don't know if that's the one you're talking about.
How, as a Catholic, to reconcile with the different teachings. Like, we don't have a teaching of reincarnation in theology. So I feel myself feeling like I don't understand.
Okay. All as I can say is, as a child, God showed me, the old man in the chair, that he was a reincarnation, and that he was, I don't see it in abundance. It's not as if, it happens millions of times every day. I know it's very rare. But that old man was reincarnated to put love into his family. And I know that reminds me now of what you said about Martin Luther King. I was shown that he was a reincarnated as well. But I am so glad he was, that he did live long ago, and he was white, not black. And forgive me for saying that if it offends anyone. But if God decides to send back a soul, who am I or anyone else to say he's not to do so? I can't tell God what to do. So I'm sorry. I can't tell God what to do, and if God has shown me this, to tell people that on occasions he does send back a soul to help us, I say thank you. I thank God for that. I thank God for Martin Luther King, for the difference he made in the world, that he sent back that soul. I know at times, from the time I was a child, I would see what I used to not quite understand, but was a soul talking to an infant, repeatedly, in that way, engraving on a child within their mind before they could even, what would you say, I know people say baby smile, straight away and all of that, but imprinting strength of character within that infant. We can't tell God what to do, and I sure can't. And people would ask me, I love God very much, and I know God exists. I know God is real, and I'm Catholic, and I'll always be Catholic, so I'll never change. But who do I fear the most, and who do I love the most? In God's library, I was so scared as well, but yet my soul was so full of joy. I can't explain it, just dancing with such excitement and shaking. And yet I was afraid, because this was God who had come down the spiral staircase. I only can share with the world what God has asked me to share. I have priests and nuns and from other religions as well, telling me to keep up the good work, keep on writing what God has asked you to do so, what the angels have asked you to do so. So I will. Have to. Can't say no.
Here's the last question here.
Sorry, last question.
Here.
Okay.
I feel like I won the lottery. Your book has helped me enormously. I was amused by the expression on your face when he was introducing you, because people would say my life has been unhappy, humanly speaking, apparently unhappy, and it's not been.
You know, my husband also died. I had trauma as a child. My husband died on 9/11. He was a fireman. I had 10 children. My oldest is 24. My youngest is 10, my little girl. And last year I was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. It's come back in my liver. And it's true, I wouldn't trade lives with anybody. I wouldn't have had 50 years with some other man. I'd rather have had the 20 I had with Frank, as I'm sure you feel about Joe.
Yeah, very same.
But I do have some confusion about where I should be going with my prayer. Because, you know, I have a lot to look forward to on the other side. I have my husband there, I have my parents there. But I really feel so strongly to be praying that I want to continue raising my children. I see that my cancer has helped them, that the death of their father has helped them, has made them be children of faith. And, but I just don't know where to go with this. I want to pray for healing, and I do pray for healing. I know my kids will be fine either way.
I know you're to pray for life. You're to pray for life. You know, so many times, because people pray for life and ask for life, not just for themselves, but say for their children or others, lots of times God grants it. So I wouldn't give up, and yes, I know about you. Okay?
Thank you, Lorna.
Yes, and we all pray for her. So give your name.
My name is Jean Palumbo.
Jean.
Jean liked me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I hope everyone will pray for Jean, and maybe we will say the prayer of the healing angels for Jean. Okay, that God will give her remission, will give her life, you know, to see her children grow, and please God, maybe to see some of her grandchildren. Okay, so will we start now? If everyone is ready. Prayer of thy healing angels, that's carried from God by Michael thy archangel. Pour out thy healing angels, thy heavenly host upon Jean. Let her feel the beam of thy healing angels upon her, the light of your healing hand, and let the healing begin all the ways that God grants. God bless us all. Amen. So I ask for that healing now for Jean. And we all ask that she sees her 10-year-old daughter be 21, get married, and that she will see those grandchildren. I never give up. I pester God so much.
I love my best God
Pester.
to give you Joe back.
Of course. Okay.
Thank you so much, Lorna, for coming
You're
and speaking
welcome.
to us. And this is the end of the evening.
And thank you to everybody for coming, and thank you for listening. And I ask God's angels and each and every one of your guardian angel to somehow stick a little pin in you or something, or give you a little pinch and just make you a little bit more aware and to realize how wonderful this new race is of America. Okay? And don't give up on America at all. Right? God bless.
Be sure to say a card on the back and we can do Lorna's prayer, or Michael's prayer.